other nuclear power plants were established in India. Today we are a superpower on the way to become the biggest power in the world. Why? Because India has nuclear and space technology. That is we had Dr. Homi Bhabha, who also studied in Cambridge, but he came back to work for our country, and Dr. Sarabhai, who started the space program. Because of these two technologies, India is a powerful country today. So atom bomb is one application, but it will lead to destruction, mass destruction or war. Initially, ISRO was started with very low budget and in a modest way, small beginning. Look at this. The scientists and engineers, space scientists, they are taking the payload or the components of rocket on bicycle and in bullock cart. Today we have become a powerful spacefaring nation. ISRO has come a long way. First, the scientists, engineers were themselves doing the logistics, taking the powerful rocket components from A to B site, from the laboratory to that launching site. In this picture, you can see Dr. Sarabhai listening to young scientist, space engineer, Dr. APJ Kalam sir. In the picture also Madhavan Nair sir and Dr. Satish Dhawan sir, many of the Professor U.R. Rao, the former space scientists of India. I am very proud that Dr. Vasantrao Gowarikar sir, who was my guru, he had worked with Dr. Sarabhai, and today, because of which I stand before you all. So ISRO is what I began with my career, and NASA happened later on. India's first satellite was Aryabhat, named after our ancient scientist Aryabhat. Initially, India had to use the launching site and some technology from Russia, from French Guiana. We did some initial launching, but today we are a very powerful space nation. Why? Because we have our very own launch station, launch pad, everything is ready, and we have many ISRO centers taking care of all aspects of space technology, from rocketry or rocket science to the satellites, components, electronic devices, so on and so forth. This is SHAR or Sriharikota's Satish Dhawan Center at the Bay of Bengal side. Today all launching is done from here. Initially we had to do it from abroad. All the launching, that is Chandrayaan 1, 2, 3, Mangalyaan, 104 satellites, Aditya L1, PSLV, GSLV, whatever rocket it is, everything is now being launched from our own Sriharikota launching pad or launch station. So INSAT was the initial satellite that helped us to do television and telephones and all we had. That time we didn't have mobile phones. Today, because of the satellites that are specially meant for mobile phone, communication, telecommunication, telemedicine, in villages where there are no hospitals, doctor can sit in the city and help the other local doctors and guide in surgery, so on and so forth. Telemedicine, tele-education, agriculture, farmers' problems are solved. All these are the applications of space. So, I'm sure you all know. Who was he? Who was he as in the post? The biggest statesman of India, that is President of India. But before that, he initially started his career in ISRO as a space scientist and engineer. He was handpicked by Dr. Sarabhai, and then he went on to join DRDO or Defense R&D Organization and helped India in our missile program. Missiles are nothing but like rockets. They go into air, but they will strike or make attacks. So space technology is for peaceful purpose, but missiles are meant for warfare. Remember that. So Dr. APJ Kalam sir, Honorable former President of India, has been India's only scientist president. He was space scientist initially, then nuclear scientist or missile scientist, or his nickname was Missile Man of India, and then he went on to become the President of India. What a great inspiration he was for the youngsters. So he once told the chairman of ISRO and the committee, defense and space, Department of Space, that we should hit in a big way, come back to the biggest, come back with the biggest launch ever by India. And that is how Chandrayaan-1 was designed. Chandrayaan-1 changed the face of ISRO, also India. It was India's or ISRO's first moon mission, Moon Impact Probe. So only in 2008 we went to moon for the first time ever, and we did it successfully. What is ISRO's biggest achievement or biggest salient point? We do successful missions in the first attempt without wasting resources and all. More often than not, we do successfully in the first attempt itself. So Moon Impact Probe, look at all scientists, engineers integrating the whole thing. It was a Moon Impact Probe, the name itself suggests. The probe was going to be, or it was supposed to hit on the moon surface, and in doing so it made an impact and brought out some particles, or the soil particles and the mud, or whatever we call it. It's called soil of moon is called regolith. So it spilled some mud, lunar mud in soil, all that soil in the air, and then it penetrated in the surface below some few centimeters, and in doing so it discovered H2O or water molecule. So the credit of discovering water goes to India or to ISRO, and it is jointly with NASA we share this credit. Then the entire picture of ISRO changed forever. Dr. Radhakrishnan sir, chairman ISRO, he was the chairman of ISRO when Chandrayaan-1 happened. Afterwards, you must have heard about MOM or Mars Orbiter mission, or Mangalyaan, Mission Mangal movie. You must have seen. It's very inspirational. You must have seen. So many girls will be inspired by this, I'm sure. So many scientists, lady scientists were involved in the success. So 3 cheers to all the girls. I'm sure some of you will be the future space scientists and engineers of our country. So in the first attempt, this mission also got success, and we created history. All other spacefaring nations or space agencies, NASA, Russia, China, had done trial and error, and they got success in 3rd attempt, 4th attempt, and spent so much of millions of dollars and euros in doing so. But we did this in the least budget possible. After that, I'm sure you must have heard 104 satellites ISRO sent in first attempt successfully. Not only our own, but other countries, NASA's and private companies, then Dubai, Singapore, and many other countries' payloads or satellites were involved, our own, very own ISRO's. So during the time when Dr. Kiran Kumar sir was chairman, we received this kind of accolades from the entire globe or the world's space agencies, and my name has gone on the Mars Perseverance rover by NASA. Moon, Mars, to Sun, near Sun, Parker Solar Probe, so on and so forth. And now very soon on Jupiter's moon, Jupiter Clipper. Mission Mangal was also India's first interplanetary mission, and we did it successfully. ISRO is coming with a big bang by doing our own Gaganyaan or space station, indigenous, wherein our own, very own astronauts, they may be called Gagannauts or Vyomnauts, they will go to space. And then we'll go to moon, Mars. So far, America has sent men on moon. Who was the first man who went to moon? Second man? Buzz Aldrin. And Michael Collins was the pilot who was responsible to bring them back safely. So Apollo missions took men to moon by NASA, but which was first man-made satellite, first one? Sputnik, yes. Russia has been the pioneers. By far, they are the first country to take human beings to space. That is, the very first man-made satellite was Sputnik. Our Earth's only natural satellite is? We all like to go to moon again and again. We are sending Chandrayaan 1, 2, 3, now 4, 5 and so on. China has sent to the dark side also. We want to go back to moon because it is a favorite celestial body. GSLV, PSLV, these are India's very, very reliable rockets. Chandrayaan 2 was partially successful, partial failure. We cannot rule it off and say it is total failure. The orbiter which Chandrayaan 2 had sent was still there. Even today it's still revolving around moon. Then Chandrayaan 3, we said we will send Vikram lander to the south pole of moon. During Vikram's lander, during the second Chandrayaan 2, it landed on the 3 legs and then it toppled. Then we decided we will name it same Vikram after Dr. Sarabhai, and on the south pole of moon it is permanently shadowed, and no other space agency had done this soft landing successfully on the south pole of moon, which ISRO did, and we created history. It's the most iconic feat or achievement of ISRO so far. What is that point? South Pole, some call it Shiv Shakti point. Officially still not given the name, but what happened after few minutes? What was the rover called? Vikram lander, and then the rover came out. Pragyan rover. It rolled out after few minutes because first it settled down. There was dust which was brought up by the thrusters. Then it settled, and after few minutes rover landed or rolled out. Then we created history by discovering many path-breaking discoveries by Chandrayaan 3. So we celebrate that day, 23rd August, as National Space Day. For me, every day is a space day, which is why today we have gathered here to listen about ISRO, the history created by Chandrayaan, so on and so forth. Soon after Chandrayaan 3, Aditya L1 was sent by India to study sun weather and sun's characteristics, so on and so forth. So in the future, we are going to do Shukrayaan. That is to which planet? Shukra is Venus. To study Venus, our neighboring planet. Gaganyaan mission will also be sent in the near future, unmanned and then manned mission. Our team is already selected, Air Force pilots, the Bravehearts. One of them is being sent to NASA for training. Pilot Shubhanshu, Wing Commander Shubhanshu. Who is he? Cosmonaut Rakesh Sharma, sir. The first Indian man to go to space. So there are many careers in astronomy, astrophysics. If we sit here and observe the stars, and mathematics, physics is involved. If you want to become a space scientist or engineer, you will have to do engineering, masters, PhD, so on and so forth. We'll let you know next time. Many more branches are there. You are still at this stage where you have to be inspired. That is what we want to do today. The picture of Earth from space. Astrophotography is also one option. So we do stargazing, astronomy, all this to inspire youngsters to look at the stars, to get interest in cosmology, to look at stars. You need lot of patience. You need a telescope, binoculars. Sometimes with naked eye, we have seen many times International Space Station, so on and so forth. So today I want to bring home this point that after going to NASA and got trained there, I am still working for my country, for my people, to inspire kids, youngsters like you, because I am a space educator, and it is my duty and moral responsibility to inspire you and to guide you into this field. If ever you are anyone is interested and has the spark in you, the passion for space science technology, then you keep doing this, and you will have to work hard. You will have to focus on physics, chemistry, mathematics. That is the crux of it. So Chandrayaan's success, Chandrayaan 3's success has not only inspired our own very own scientists and engineers of ISRO, but me, people like us, you all, and I'm sure we'll do many more, we'll achieve many more accolades in the times to come. Thank you very much. Now, if you are interested in asking any questions, you can ask questions because we want to make it interactive. Mangal means Mars. Oh, Gaganyaan is still not launched. Gaganyaan will go into space. It is just like International Space Station, but International Space Station is truly international because NASA is involved, European Space Agency, Japan, so on and so forth. But Gaganyaan will be India's indigenous, our very own space station. It will go to 400 kilometers, that is in low Earth orbit. It will not go to planet, it will go to Gagan, means space, Antara. Yes, good.
Do we get information from other satellites that come from other countries?
Oh yes, that's a good question. See, every space agency has sent so many n number of satellites till date. Russia first, then NASA, that is America, and China has sent so many satellites, India also, and some developing countries as well. Powerful countries like European countries also, British Space Agency, French, all of them. But now most of the satellites are meant for that particular country. Like if it is a French satellite, it will give information to France only. But your question, I'll take it in a broad way. When Chandrayaan 3 mission was launched and the spacecraft started revolving around Earth first, it took 40 days, correct? For the entire mission. So it did some revolutions around Earth, it got momentum, it went into lunar or moon orbit and then it landed. So when it was going to the far side of Earth, that is where India is and the back side is America, so the NASA's Deep Space Network was tracking our spacecraft. And when it was going above Australia, Australian tracking system was tracking it. But mostly that country's satellite is managed by that particular space agency only. Good.
Could you tell us more about Chandrayaan mission? Like what is the main aim or objective of it?
Okay, see, we have studied Mars. It is our neighboring planet, but our closest neighbor is Venus. If we want to study our near neighbor, what we always do at home, our next neighbor, you always know who is staying next to you. So Earth's neighbor, Venus, we should study. Now, Venus is supposed to be very, very cold and very hot also. It is far colder and also hotter in terms of the minus and plus. So there are a lot of mission objectives, main being to study our closest neighbor.
What do you think about the layer of space junk that is being produced due to
Oh.
our human activities?
Very interesting question. All those space agencies are creating so much space junk or space garbage. It is e-waste. How are we going to manage? Every country is putting the satellites and into space. We are putting so many applications. We want human beings to understand more or do research. But in doing so, we are also, it's affecting our environment. So many space agencies, including ISRO, is trying to put it or push it away into deep space. In fact, some of my students who have gone for higher studies in masters and PhD in space, one group had written a research paper and I was the guide to study the space junk, and also we want to remove it and eradicate that, but it is very challenging.
What is the process of selecting an astronaut for going into the space?
You saw in the team the 4 indigenous or India's Air Force pilots. They are selected based on their capability to fly the most challenging aircraft. These 4 astronauts are selected because they are mentally and physically fit. One must be able to survive in space, so it needs lot of mental strength. And now you must have heard about Miss Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore, NASA astronauts. They are stuck in space. They are not stranded. They are on board the International Space Station. But the Boeing Starliner that took them to space and docked them inside the space station. Now they are doing their work. They are carrying out their activities. But the Boeing Starliner capsule had defects or problems, so they could not bring them back safely. They went only for 8 to 10 days. Now it has been 3 months or more than that, and they'll have to stay for 5 more months. In space, you experience zero gravity, so it is under extreme conditions. They are trained. My own astronaut training was precursor to the real astronaut training. So it is endurance test, physical maintenance, physical ability, and also mental strength. All these conditions, stringent conditions, only if you have, then you are selected as an astronaut.